question, what makes a good place for all to live in? And I have this in my mind every time I work on a project or a research. My years at the minimum cost housing group is very precious to me. These years have paved the way to my career, to my diverse experiences, to the knowledge I gained, and even shaped the person who I am now. Today I am delighted to share with you my journey in architecture from the Philippines to Canada and finally to Sweden as I embark upon this question. So with this question, I ask my students, what makes a good place for all to live in? What is your ideal neighborhood? And some of their answers can be summarized in these keywords. I guess we all have our own way of describing the ideal place for us to live in. When I was about to do my undergrad thesis in the University of the Philippines, my groupmates and I already decided we have to do something that has environmental and socioeconomic relevance in the country. Sustainability did not exist in our vocabulary at the time, but we were so idealistic. We were young. We wanted to solve the housing problems in the country. We had the opportunity to work with the city of Puerto Princesa on the beautiful island of Palawan. Along the coast of the Puerto Princesa Bay were fishing villages. Like what I said, the term sustainability did not exist in our vocabulary, but we understood through our design philosophy, we had to understand how the fishing villages live in harmony with their environment such that we can design appropriately for the community. In 1992, I was accepted to the minimum cost housing program. That was a big deal for me. And I was even granted a full scholarship from the Canadian International Development Agency, and I'm always forever be grateful for that opportunity. A new and exciting journey in architecture began. I had the opportunity to study in an inspiring international environment and learn the complex problems of human settlements in different parts of the world. I met many wonderful people, many of whom have become lifetime friends. Forgive me for showing these old pictures. While pursuing my master's, the minimum cost housing program taught me new dimensions in housing. In my master's thesis, I analyzed the sanitation and environmental problems in the fishing villages of Puerto Princesa. My research focused on determining the appropriate sanitation technologies for the poor coastal communities. In the process, I have learned that the solution called for holistic and long-term approaches. It involved the study of a bigger picture, not just the technical, not just the costs or economic analysis, but also the environmental conditions and the requirements, the social requirements of the community. After completing the master's degree, I pursued doctorate studies in the minimum cost housing group with the guidance of Professor Matt. This time, my research focused on the selection model for choosing building technologies for progressive housing. The topic goes back to my work in Ayala Land in the Philippines, where we designed low-cost housing using new building technologies. In my research, I have learned that choosing new building technologies is not just using them to mass-produce houses. People must be able to use them, sustain them, and maintain them in their homes. Life is full of surprises, as many would say. I was a PhD student at McGill when I gave a presentation in a conference in Delft, the Netherlands, and later on attended a short course in Lund University. And somewhere in that journey, I met my lifetime partner. After some years, I decided to make Lund, Sweden, my home. Once again, a new and exciting journey began. The knowledge and experiences I gained from the minimum cost housing group enabled me to contribute fully to be a part of the teaching team of the Department of Housing Management and Development at Lund University. The department undertakes research and education in housing and urban development from an international perspective, including aspects of planning, design, construction, use, and management. For many years, we conducted international training programs funded by the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, and we also held master's programs and undergraduate courses. The whole experience of working closely with course participants and students from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe gave me that exposure to real-life challenges and even state-of-the-art research and projects in different parts of the globe. While settling down in Sweden, I was immersed in a new culture and a new language. Swedes are great and wonderful, but Swedish is very difficult to learn. But I managed. I built my life with my husband Johnny and our son Theodore. While I was doing part-time jobs at the university, we decided to rebuild our 1930s modernist house. It's a very important architecture in Sweden at the time until now, and it's called Funkishus in Sweden. We took the challenge of building an upper floor while at the same time respecting the architectural character of the house. We hired a builder, of course, to do the structural work, but we did most of the interior work ourselves. And as you can see on the picture, there are two other self-help builders. Aren't they lovely? Though I was teaching part-time at Lund University, I wanted to go back to architectural practice. I guess I have always been that person who must do practical things, or do design, or do artistic things sometimes. So I landed a job at Foy Architects, and later on I joined Sweco Architects. I worked hard, given the new language. I learned a lot and was able to establish my architectural practice in Sweden. In both companies, we work in teams and we work with diverse kinds of projects. But for me, from what I've learned from minimum cost housing, it's always the people. I have to be reminded of the users, the family, whatever type of project I'm working on. For instance, when designing housing for students, how can you design housing that they can afford, or where they can live comfortably and enjoy the years in the university? Even in big competitions of large-scale research facilities, I always think of the people, the users. How do you create good working places in these complex projects? How do you integrate it in the urban fabric? When I joined Sweco Sweden, I wanted to take responsibility for the future and contribute to creating a sustainable society, not only in Sweden but also in other parts of the globe. Sweco is Europe's leading architectural and engineering consultancy company, and sustainability is the core of the company's business. So I thought, this is the right place for me. So at Sweco, whether we do early design of a local hockey arena for a local association or small renovations of small school cafeteria, it was important again for us to address to the needs of the users such that we can really create good places for them. We also have the tools that we can assess if we really address to the sustainable development goals. We have the tools such that we can measure the carbon footprint of our design and so on. Even in creating new districts in the city, we address parameters, sustainable parameters, such that we can actually create sustainable development in these areas. Like what they said, we do global, that I wanted to work also internationally. Sweco does global reach out. We have community as the focus of our reach out. We work with some commissions in Africa, China, and other parts of Asia, and also Middle East. Okay, just to summarize. What makes a good place for all to live in? In summary, I think of the three important words. First is the place. Of course, we create a place for everyone, a place where people choose to live, work, and thrive in. People. We ensure that everyone, without discrimination of any kind, have access to housing, work, schools, and services. And of course, time. We aim for sustainable development to ensure good quality of life, not only for us, this present generation, but for the future generations to come. So people, place, people, and time. Let's go back to the students' keywords of describing a good place for all to live in. And why not look at the sustainable development goals? Every word in these goals have a very strong message to us. And they inspire us and hopefully remind us to do better things. And these words acquire more meaning only when they are finally realized. So, it has been 31 years since I first came to Montreal. Time flies. The journey has been long and I was rewarded with knowledge, rich experiences, strength, friendship, love, and family. Thank you, McGill University, for opening your doors. And Minimum Cost Housing Group will always have a special place in my heart. Thank you.